That's why the Western media now are proudly showing off how many women and transgender soldiers are joining the Ukrainian army. Here's trans soldier Ashton Cirillo, who joined up with the Ukrainian army, was a war correspondent and said, I'm joining up with the Ukrainian military. There's all sorts of effusive articles written about Ashton Cirillo. Western media writing up big articles about this soldier and big front page stories about all the women that are joining up in Ukraine right now. Ukraine's women are playing a key role in the fight against Russia. I love they pick the pretty girl and they put some makeup on her or whatever. Trying to make her look as glamorous as possible in these roles. And then
it's worth remembering though that at least women had the choice. Men of fighting age could not leave Ukraine when fighting began. So they didn't have a choice. Women could at least take their kids and go. And so when we think about who was in the front line, who's left, there were plenty of men between what were the ages 35 and 60, I believe,
right,
in that range that had
Could trans women leave?
To go first.
I don't know.
I don't
That's
know.
a good question.
Interesting if you could gender ID out of the country.
Now I'm a woman. I know you're recruiting all these men and men have to do it. So guess what? I'm a woman. Hey, it works in Scotland. Maybe it'll work in Ukraine. I don't know. Meanwhile, here's more headlines. Fighting while female. They're so happy to be holding rocket launchers. How gender dynamics are shaping the war in Ukraine. All of these articles from USA Today to, the BBC to The Guardian. Mainstream media doing full propaganda about how great it is that Ukraine is using women. Watch.
They are new faces on the front lines of the war in Ukraine, female snipers. And while duty didn't call for them, they still loaded up and lined up. Our Inez de Lucatera sat down with one of them to discuss her passion for the battlefield and beyond.
Passion for the battlefield.
By now, she's gained a few nicknames. Punisher of Russians and Ukrainian Joan of Arc.
I like Jeanne of Arc, history Jeanne of Arc.
Yeah.
And a lot of people said that she was a ginger like me.
Okay. Eugenia Emerald has become somewhat of an icon in Ukraine, fighting on the front lines as a sniper, the only woman in her unit.
Yeah. So notice the propaganda there. But the real story is being...
Also, that seems incredibly unsafe, is putting on social media images of where you are.
Yeah, here I am on Instagram. Here's my unit. I'm a sniper.
Perfectly framed, too.
Right.
I mean, once... Clayton's brother-in-law is in NOAA Corps and had sent something that was like a whale or something, out on a ship. And Clayton shared it somehow, and we got in trouble for that. It was do not share. Because you can't... Why is that allowed? These beauty shots of...
He was on a ship,
as it is.
which is a branch of the military. Right, exactly.
It literally was like a dolphin. Go ahead.
How come we're not seeing on any of that footage of her actually firing a gun? Why is there there's no gunfire being heard? If it's so bad over there, where's all that?
No. And then, of course, the other videos and photos that we've shown are women holding wooden guns, in the training and all the training montages. But, of course, the real story is being hidden here. The Ukraine military is being paid by NATO and the United States to go out and grab men off the streets who are of fighting age. Young men, old men, like this guy going to the market to get food. He's handed a summons from soldiers who are out looking for men.
Что, не успел таки приехать, пойти на рынок и уже повестку вручили.
Yeah, so there's the summons in his hand. And these guys are paid by Western taxpayers. You are paying for these guys to have men be pulled off the streets and thrown into the meat grinder. This is what this is. Fight to the very last Ukrainian. That's exactly what's happening. These press gangs going out grabbing boys as young as 16, even younger, off the streets. Take a look at this. Here's, hey, are you of fighting age? No, I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting. You see these families there standing. Well, fine. Well, we're taking you then. We're taking you, and we're going to take you right into the meat grinder. Just awful. Just awful. Picking them up and going. Women are now, by the way, fighting off these recruitment thugs, swarming them so boys have time to get away. Watch this. Women are sort of this is like the new tactic. Moms and women are sort of coming together around these thugs, and they're basically like, hey, you can't do this. Watch. So the women sort of swarm them, and then they're able to get away, like these thugs that come out and grab these people off the streets.
Don't mess with the mama bears.
Exactly. And some there's no women around, and so the men get dragged away like this. We are showing. Yeah, so this is what happens. But not everyone gets away with it. These thugs dragging them, kicking and screaming, and they go then to die on the front lines. This week, a new McDonald's opened in eastern Ukraine. People lined up to get a burger for the first time at this new McDonald's. The Ukrainian military then showed up. Look at this. Look at the Ukrainian military showing up here, looking for men, handing out summons to report for duty while they're just waiting to get in line. So there's a big line of people, and they're walking up. Oh, you came out of the house. Here you go. You better report for duty. You better get down there. A woman yesterday shopping with her 2 young boys accosted by soldiers trying to drag her out of the car to get her 2 teenage boys back in that were in the back seat of the car. Watch this.
Не имеете права. Нет, 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 Золотой, не имеешь права. Не имеешь права. Не имеешь права. Нет, нет, полицию сюда. Полицию сюда. Давай.
And the female police officer shows up, says, this is our area. What are you doing here? This is our turf. What are you doing here? And the 2 boys are in the back seat of the car. And look at the mom is like, no, you're not getting my boys. No. Look at him holding his gun. We're grabbing your guys. We're grabbing them. We're going to throw them into the meat grinder for NATO. America wants it. America wants this proxy war, so we need your boys.
Can you imagine how scary that is?
And these women all crowd around him. Get out of here. Get out of here. He's reaching through the window to try to grab this kid. And then it's not enough.
They're trying to block her car.
And then not enough. He puts the spike strips down behind the car, like as well. Like, oh, you think you're going to drive away? Here's some spike strips. That'll pop your tires. This is what we're dealing with now. A group of women swarming these guys to protect these men.